a democracy. Fighting for a democracy. And understand the difference here. Understand the difference here moving forward.
When they asked her about the gun.
Yes.
And she, yeah, I got a Glock. What kind?
Yes.
And her answer was,
Yeah.
And Those were invented by nervous white people around black people.
Tyrus just put Kamala Harris in the spotlight, and let's be real. It's been building for years. From the awkward pauses to her signature giggles and those speeches that leave people scratching their heads, Tyrus wastes no time calling it all out. This isn't your average political critique. It's a roast that breaks down the endless word salads, the overly polished inspiration lines, and the sound bites that miss the mark. If you thought her speeches were confusing before, wait until you hear Tyrus unpack them.
VP Harris, she won't go to the border, probably because she'd rather take the magic school bus to the moon.
You guys are gonna see. You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
Oh my goodness.
With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable.
With your own eyes.
Before we dive in, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss this. Kamala Harris has become the poster child for failing upward, rising through the ranks with a trail of awkward speeches, nervous laughs, and lines that leave audiences more puzzled than inspired. Forget Elon Musk and his rockets. This is a different kind of launch. Somehow, Harris propelled herself into the vice presidency fueled by cackles, word salads, and a carefully rehearsed smile. And now, Tyrus is here to break it all down in a way you'll never unhear.
Kamala Harris getting mocked and criticized once again after dishing out another one of her now notoriously scrambled responses, which her critics have taken to calling a word salad. The vice president was meeting with the Jamaican prime minister, for example, when she blurted this out.
For Jamaica, one of the issues that has been presented as an issue that is economic in the way of its impact has been the pandemic. So to that end, we are announcing today also that we will assist Jamaica in...
It's almost like America asked, what's the strangest audition tape for leadership we could ever approve? And Kamala Harris walked in with a resume that feels more like a fever dream than a career path. From prosecutor to politician to whatever role she's trying to embody now, her trajectory is anything but traditional. Sure, the vice presidency is often symbolic, but Harris has turned it into something closer to performance art. Each time she steps up to the mic, it's less like a political address and more like the opening scene of a sitcom nobody ever wanted to greenlight.
So I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where...
And then there's the laugh. That nervous, jittery cackle doesn't exactly say, confident stateswoman. It feels more like a middle schooler who just got caught cheating on a test and tries to play it off as comedy. She could be asked about a global crisis and still respond with the kind of laugh you'd expect at a backyard barbecue when someone slips on the potato salad. Now picture that same laugh echoing in a room full of world leaders. It's less diplomacy and more like an audition tape for the Joker. Kamala Harris often sounds like she's stuck in a never-ending job interview for a role she never actually read the description for. She strings words together as if she's solving a riddle on the spot, forgetting that she's the one who created it. Listening to her speeches feels like cracking open a fortune cookie written by AI running on 1% battery. You keep waiting for the thought to land, but instead it unravels into a polished TED Talk about absolutely nothing.
Do you regret not voicing your opinion in that moment?
Yes, and I actually have reflected on that, and I've written about that. You know, I
Would it have
realized.
mattered if you did?
I
You feel it would have
don't know.
mattered?
And this is the person sitting just one heartbeat away from the Oval Office. The idea was that she'd bring charisma, relatability, and inspiration to the ticket. But instead, she delivers speeches that sound like Google Translate stuck on shuffle mode. Watching her try to inspire a crowd feels like listening to a playlist of outdated corporate buzzwords. Moment, importance, together, future, then cue the cackle, and that's the speech. What's supposed to be leadership ends up looking more like confusion in a pantsuit. Her record tells the same story. One moment she's cracking down on truancy like it's a national security threat, with parents facing penalties over missed school days. The next, she's rebranding herself as the fun, relatable auntie of politics who's all about fairness and inclusion. That's not growth, that's costume changes. Kamala treats politics like a rotating stage show, every night's theme tailored to whatever polls best.
It was amazing that no one asked. You told the American people that President Biden was better than he ever was, and you couldn't keep up with him. And then he gets pulled out of the race because he has dementia. So on the record, you are saying that a old man with dementia, or whatever they want to call it, outworked you. And you were even the last person in the room. So why are you running for president again?
The 2020 campaign was supposed to be Kamala Harris's big moment. Rallies, headlines, and the promise of being a historic candidate. Then reality hit, and voters collectively shrugged. Her presidential bid collapsed so quickly, it made crypto look stable. She didn't even make it to the primaries, going from next big thing to next trivia question in record time. But instead of fading out, she was handed the vice presidency, proof that in Washington, failing spectacularly can be the best resume builder of all. Fast forward to today, and we've got a VP who somehow manages to be both invisible and embarrassing. Her biggest assignment? The border crisis. Instead of actually visiting the border, she flew to Central America and told people not to come. Like that was going to fix anything. It's the political equivalent of hiring a lifeguard and watching them set up their chair 3 blocks away from the pool.
Forward, she couldn't move forward from that sentence. My IQ moved backward.
Kamala Harris is basically the group project partner who never does the work but insists on giving the presentation. She shows up late, adds nothing of value, and then hogs the mic with incoherent rambling, followed by that trademark laugh as if she nailed it. If politics had Yelp reviews, hers would read, showed up, didn't deliver, laughed a lot, would not recommend. From awkward cooking videos to staged photo ops to speeches filled with, "We are in the moment of this moment" lines, her brand of leadership feels more like parody than politics. Foreign policy hasn't been much different. Sending Kamala to meet world leaders is like sending the class clown to negotiate with the principal. It's entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons. Other countries must wonder if America is pulling a prank when she represents us. Imagine being a diplomat preparing for months of negotiations, only to sit across from someone who explains global conflicts like it's kindergarten circle time. It's not confidence building, it's cringe.
Worst things that you can say to people.
Yeah.
But I help people who harm people. God bless, good night, that's my time. That's what.
I think it's an excellent thing to acknowledge to a therapist.
Yes.
Kamala Harris was sold as the future of the Democratic Party, a rising star, a trailblazer, the face of change. Instead, she's become a cautionary tale of what happens when hype collides with reality. She's the political equivalent of buying a flashy new gadget that breaks after one use. Shiny packaging, no substance. And yet, she continues to coast, not because she's effective or trusted, but because the system props her up. If mediocrity had a patron saint, Harris would be first in line for canonization. She isn't breaking barriers. She's tripping over them, then laughing like it was all part of the plan. At this point, her biggest achievement might be making late-night comedy writers unnecessary. Every clip of her talking feels like its own punchline. Harris is the first politician whose speeches beg for a laugh track, not because they're clever, but because otherwise the audience is just left staring in confusion. She's not leading, she's performing, and the performance isn't inspiring, it's awkward. America didn't elect a leader. It got an open mic night experiment.
I don't think Kamala will ever hold public office again.
Better not.
I don't think you can come back from. It wasn't that she was outfoxed. It wasn't that she lost. I think you can certainly lose an election and run a good election.
Kamala Kamala Harris might think she's building a brand for the future, but what she's really doing is locking herself in as the vice president people will joke about for decades. Forget Madam Vice President. History is more likely to remember her as the word salad queen, the one who giggled her way into office and laughed whenever responsibility came knocking. Even her own supporters often look uncomfortable, not because she's polarizing, but because she's awkward. She could describe water and still make it sound confusing. And just when you think she might land a point, she punctuates it with that laugh. That laugh has become her trademark, high-pitched, nervous, and sitcom-ready. If presidential debates ever turned into open mic nights, Harris wouldn't even need a platform. She could just walk on stage, laugh for 5 minutes, and call it a policy. The laugh is her shield, her punctuation, her reset button, and her tell. Every chuckle feels like an admission. I don't know what I just said, and neither do you, so let's pretend it was funny.
He never saw the video.
Yeah.
Okay? That's not someone who describes a video.
Yeah.
That's someone that they handed this to her, and she was like, elephants? Oh, I'll take it from here. And then she went out there. And she was not drunk. She was hungover, because she's way worse when she's hungover. That was hungover because she kept saying the same thing over and over again.
Kamala Harris's defenders often argue that she's unfairly criticized because she's a woman of color. But the criticism isn't about identity. It's about her political instincts, which function like a malfunctioning GPS, always recalculating, never arriving. People don't cringe because she's a woman. They cringe because she's the human version of an awkward icebreaker game. She fought to keep people in prison for cheap labor, and when she tried to rebrand as a champion of justice, voters remembered. Her debates exposed that gap, and her campaign collapsed faster than a paper straw in a soda. But her downfall wasn't just about her record, it was her inability to connect. Harris talks like she's addressing a room of interns who are forced to clap. No warmth, no authenticity, just scripted lines that somehow still come out scrambled. It got so bad that even her own campaign staff reportedly struggled to explain what she stood for. Imagine working for a candidate and having to Google your boss's platform. That's Kamala Harris, a politician with plenty of packaging but no clear product inside.
Surrounded, you don't, and then they formed a circle, and then they got together. Go the away.
And somehow, all of that was still enough to land her the vice presidency. Not because she earned it, not because voters demanded it, but because the Democratic Party wanted a historic pick. And yes, it was historic, just not in the way they imagined. Instead of being a symbol of leadership, Harris has become a case study in why symbolism without substance backfires. On the world stage, the VP is supposed to represent America, but Kamala has turned those trips into something closer to a global comedy tour. She stands beside serious leaders, nodding and smiling, then delivers word salads that feel like group projects where she clearly didn't read the assignment. You can almost picture other leaders going home wondering, is this really the best America had to offer? Her attempts at relatability don't help either. They just add to the awkwardness. The infamous cooking video, where she chopped vegetables like she was filming for a Food Network blooper reel. The staged photo ops that were supposed to look natural, but came across like a wax figure posing for Instagram. Even her immigration strategy, telling people not to come as if migration works like customer service at Walmart, fell flat. At this point, she has the charisma of an AI-generated influencer that blinks just a little too late to feel human.
At the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate. At the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun owner.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah. I'm talking about the first time I've ever seen Oprah Winfrey stutter.
Yeah.
She was like, what she wanted to say, remember that stupid you said at the, which, was it the debate or was it the DNC that they drew me out and Stedman's pissed, he was double parked, waiting for this. Like she literally said nothing. She's like, if Oprah can't save you, nobody can save.
Kamala Harris's approval ratings tell the story. They're not low because she's unfairly targeted. They're low because voters simply aren't buying what she's selling. Her numbers live in the basement, and when pollsters ask how people feel about her, the most common response is indifference. That's the real problem. She doesn't inspire passion, she inspires apathy. And in politics, apathy is deadly. Her speeches have become their own genre of comedy, full of repetition, circular phrasing, and bursts of enthusiasm that somehow add up to nothing. By the time she's done, no one remembers the question, only the awkward performance. This is someone who couldn't survive the 2020 primaries, who can't crack 40% approval, and who struggles to deliver a speech without veering into word salad, yet she's still considered next in line. That's not meritocracy, that's desperation. Harris has become the political equivalent of a participation trophy. She didn't win, she was just there. She didn't inspire, she was just available. She didn't lead, she just laughed. Her rise isn't a story of talent or vision. It's a story of box checking, optics over outcomes, and hype over substance.
You know what happened, Greg? The teleprompter went up and they cheered too long.
Yeah.
And she panicked because all she couldn't remember the connection word. So she panicked. This ain't close.
In many ways, Kamala Harris is the perfect symbol of modern politics. Not because she's an exception, but because she's the blueprint. Today, politicians aren't rewarded for competence. They're rewarded for optics, and Harris is all optics. Unfortunately, the image she projects isn't leader of the free world. It's more like a confused camp counselor trying to stall for time until the bus shows up. She set out to make history, and she did, just not in the way she imagined. Instead of being remembered as a trailblazer, Harris has become the punchline. And maybe that's fitting, because history doesn't always crown heroes. Sometimes it hands out warnings. Kamala Harris will go down as a case study in how not to lead, how not to inspire, and how not to connect. She wanted to be the moment. Instead, she became the meme.